What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin, aka No Good Comic, and we're doing a little book review here for The Dark Knights of Steel, the new DC issue that just came out by Tom Taylor. But of course, I am not alone here today. I have my good friend Copy 801 to join me. We're going to break this down together. So, Copy, what's up, brother?
What is going on, dear sir? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I know we've been talking for a while in terms of re-collaborating, because obviously it's not our first time hanging out here, but I'm glad that we were able to do this, and especially you being, to me, you are the DC guru in terms of understanding the universe of DC, past and present, and probably future. You probably know some things that no one knows. So I think this is a great book for us to kind of break down here. So I appreciate you coming on, man.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Whenever I could go on somebody else's channel and talk some DC, I'm always up for it.
Absolutely, man, for sure. And I was just telling you, I was like, man, it's Sunday. It's my football Sunday. I got my Ravens jersey on. I'm like, ready to watch the game. But I figured we can certainly carve some time out here. So I'm glad that we were able to do this. I see we have a couple people in the chat. Say a quick hello to them, and by the way, smash the like button if you haven't already, and make sure, if you aren't following Copy 801, I put his information in the description below. You can find him on YouTube and over on Instagram. So if you don't already follow him, you certainly should, and you should probably reach out to him too, especially if you like DC. So here we go. We got my man John's Comics with Kids. John, I'm glad that you are here. I know John had some interesting feelings on this issue or this series, so maybe I'll mention some of that stuff along the way. But good to see you, John. Let's see, we got Perry Comics in the house. Station Perry Comics, good to see you, man. And I see we got Swag in the house as well. He says early show today. Yeah, usually for those who've been following for a while, I usually don't stream on Sundays at all when football season's on, and certainly not this early. But it is a nice little change of pace. I got my coffee here. I got my good friend Copy 801 next to me, so ready to kind of dive into some of this stuff. Yeah, man. So Copy, first you have the physical book on you, right? Can you show the you got both covers, actually. Let's see both covers here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, which one you want me to show? So
yeah.
We have the A cover.
Let me switch you around here. Yeah.
Which, I grabbed it just because I thought it was freaking fantastic.
Totally. Yep. I'm with you.
And I also got, and I'm subscribed to these, I got the 1 in 25. I'll be getting the 1 in 25s for this entire series as long as they keep it up like this.
Ooh, going down that rabbit hole, huh? Well, what did you say? It's part of D&D, right?
Yeah, so this is like a scaled down D&D character sheet. So you have strength, speed, agility, intelligence, charisma, and stamina right over there. So everybody gets their own character sheet as far as I could see. They started it off with Superman.
Yep.
And obviously, they're going to do all the characters we know and love.
I like it. Hey, we got TM Nerdy in the house. Station Travis, good to see you. He says good morning. Yeah, so I didn't realize it was D&D. I've never played D&D, but I think it's a really cool concept, and it does look like a cool cover regardless. I went with the A cover. I just thought it looked epic. It kind of reminded me of like Star Wars, the way they place all the heads and things like that. Very epic type of vibe. Yeah. John here said he went with cover B, which is also really cool. I know it was like the knight on the black horse in the shadows. That looked really neat too. So this is Tom Taylor. This is who's it? Yasmin Putri, I think, right?
Yep.
Doing the art. So let's just start with this, because I know we're not doing like a too long of a stream here, in case anybody's watching or catching the replay. But let's just start with this. What were your initial thoughts of this series as a whole before we get into any details? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you grade it? 1 out of 10, 10 being amazing.
So, like a lot of people, I'm a fan of Tom Taylor. I like a lot of the stuff he does. I was first introduced to him through Deceased, and I really, really enjoyed that. And then after Deceased, I ended up reading the Injustice Year Zero.
Okay.
Because big JSA fan. So right when they do a JSA thing, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait for this whole thing to come out and then just binge it. And it was unique. He's got a good style of storytelling. So right when I learned that he was going to be writing this, I was like, what if everything happened in the Middle Ages? So cool stuff, honestly. Without getting into it, I would give the first issue I felt was really strong. Yeah. Very strong first issue. There were a few moments in there that really threw me for a loop, which I really like, especially from an issue 1.
Sure.
I'm gonna go with a 7.5 to an 8.
All right. I think that's very fair.
Only because it's the first issue, it can get lower. So I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket and be like, yo, this thing is a 9. Sure, no, it hasn't earned that yet. It's a good, solid 7.5 to an 8 so far.
Okay.
What do you think?
So I am, so as you know, I've been like slowly getting more into DC over the past year and a half or so. I haven't really been following much of it. I don't know much about the characters other than the obvious stuff that is known through the films and cartoons of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all that stuff. So for me though, I really enjoyed this, and I actually read this as more of an indie title, almost like erased everything that I even did know about Batman, because at the end of the day, yes, like you said, it's like a twist on, for those who don't know, this is like a twist on, the characters of Batman, Superman, well, a lot of the major DC characters, where they all take place in the medieval time period. So it's not current day, no cell phones or anything like that, no technology in that sense. So it is definitely a different twist on things. And I think that you have to know going into this that, you have to keep that as an open mind of like, okay, anything can happen in this kind of world. And so I think if you go into it with that, almost like an indie title, like something brand new, like these characters never been written before, I think that it can definitely change this perspective of, there's some great panels there. So I'm actually going to give this I really enjoyed it. I would give it like a 9. I'm going to throw up like a 9. But again, with the lack of experience that I have, though, and I read this more as like an indie type of title. So that's kind of how I saw it. And I will say, and as we get into this, there were some characters I had no idea who they were. And actually later I found out, talking with John and his daughter Charlie, they were streaming yesterday morning, and they talked a little bit about this. They did a whole spoiler thing, and they basically named a bunch of characters. I had no idea that that's who they were. And so now I'm like even more so like, oh, interesting. Like otherwise these were just random characters. Like the guy that was like seemed to be possessed on the floor, had no idea that was John Constantine. Did not realize like that was over the head. I just saw it was this character who was like possessed. So yeah, there you go. And then even Black Lightning there, had no idea about that until, like I said, until John mentioned it, and Charlie. So that, to give you a little perspective from my viewpoint, that I think is why I enjoyed it so much, was I was very much disconnected to the characters from what they normally are, because just from the lack of knowledge of who these characters normally are, if that makes sense. So I think that's where I stand. And I see here in the chat, I see Perry says, as an intro issue, I'm gonna drop a solid 9. I enjoyed it enough to read 2 reads, and Pull listed it. Yeah, nice. So he put it on Pull list as well. I think it's I agree with Perry. John says definitely hard to grade. Just one of those. Just one issue out of 12 for sure. Yep. Hey, we got Kachung in the house. What's going on, Dave? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. John had pointed out Charlie, his daughter, she loved it as well. Probably going to force him into getting an issue too. And I don't want to speak for John, but I know that some of the I guess we can call it outlandish storylines that are in this, I think kind of threw him for a loop to some degree. And like I said, if you guys are interested in more of his thoughts, you can definitely check out his live stream from yesterday. But I don't think he like poo-pooed it per se, like that tough, but like he said here, like he's gonna get issue 2 just because his daughter's into it. So but anyways, let's get a little bit into it, Copy, and I'll let you lead the way here. Where do you want to dive in? I guess the beginning of the issue, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say we could do the beginning. So the very beginning of the story, we get literally page 1, we get Krypton's exploding, guys, which is a story that we've all heard of. It's drawn out. We know. All right. It's like Bruce Wayne's origin story. And then planet explodes. The beginning. You get the pod going to Earth. But
first
plot twist.
it's a little bit bigger of a pod.
It's a little bit bigger of a pod, so they didn't send Cal.
Yeah.
So his mother and father, guess what? They went to Earth because she was pregnant and she was about to go into labor.
Yep.
So we're like, okay, cool stuff. And of course, you know, we find out that they get met by Cavaliers.
Yep.
And they're all like, you know, they're all freaking going over to him and they shoot an arrow. He's like, no, stop. What does he do? He fucking heat visions everybody.
Yeah, this was wild.
Just wrecks all of them. And he's like, oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, they were scared, right? It's like they essentially thought they were being attacked too. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know, it's reasonable.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And John said, build better spaceships. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, it was kind of small, but listen, it got the job done. It's all that matters.
Yeah. Hey, we got Ty in the house. What's going on, Darth Timo?
Hey, what's going on, sir?
And John said too. He said I'd probably give it a 6.5 or a 7 personally. Great art, great character design. Yeah, good point on the art and character design. I mean, I really like Yasmin Putri. Seen their work before.
Oh yeah, absolutely fantastic. You see the field.
Yep.
All scorched over,
yep.
And then you get Black Lightning. Sorry, Black Lightning with Constantine.
Yeah, that was again to me. I did not click 2 and 2 together in terms of who we were looking at here or what the characters were.
I didn't know it was Constantine until the next page. When he said the Constantine, when his scribe says the Constantine boy is talking in tongues, and he's like, keep writing down everything. So
I missed
even
that.
in this, he's still mystical, but he's younger. So one thing I've noticed is that a lot of the DC heroes right now, they're young. They're in their early 20s or late teens, right along that precipice. And it makes sense that Black Lightning is a lord in this.
He looks awesome.
Because Black Lightning is an older superhero, not senior level, but he's in his 40s or so.
Yeah.
Or late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
So if we scale everybody back 10 years, he's in his early 30s right now, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and I will clarify, Black Lightning, have no idea who he is. Like, don't know anything about him. Didn't know his name. I mean, his name's Jefferson. I looked him up later. I'm like, okay, kind of get an understanding of his powers and stuff like that. But otherwise, have no idea anything about him. Hey, we got Gore Vidal in the house. What's going on, Gore? He says, Justin, you may want to look at into Taylor's work and the Green Lantern Corps, which ran parallel to Jeff Johns' Green Lantern's run. Great intro to the Lantern universe, respectively. Interesting. Okay,
100% agree.
Yeah, I'm down for.
Agree. The
down
tag
for more
team
Taylor
between
stuff.
those, between the Green Lantern Corps and the Green Lantern series, fantastic. That's another discussion, though.
Yeah. John too said he'll praise Taylor's all new Wolverine. Just a great run, for sure. So Black Lightning here, telling him to continue to scribe. And then we get Flash. Oh, and then we just jump ahead, right? Then it was that's the 19 years later here at what they call the Castle of El. And it's like Cal is being like a little kid, and he's just like, Bruce, can I come with you?
Oh yeah. Fantastic.
I like how they kind of painted him, and Bruce is almost like almost like a big brother or like a I don't know, or his guardian. Really, he's like a kind of like a backup. And I do like that they have Alfred in here too. By the way,
Alfred looks like Let's talk about Alfred for a second.
How
badass does Alfred look?
Yeah, he's great.
Oh my god!
Here's like a zoom in of Alfred as they're getting ready to get on the horses. But just
look at that guy.
It looks like a true musketeer,
Oh hell yeah!
With the stash and everything.
Oh yeah, freaking fantastic! And then we get one really nice little touch that I like. Is that so? Batman still has his Robins, and
yes.
We find out he goes. So the first introduction we get to this is he goes, Richard Duke, report, and we get young Dick Grayson as young Nightwing, and we get young Duke Thomas as like young Signal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a little hint of their modern uniforms.
Yep.
Which is fantastic. And then we get Stephanie Brown as well as young Spoiler. And we get young Jason Todd as like a young Red Hood. And in that little panel that you showed, it really does a great job of showing everybody's look.
Yeah, just on the collar, you can see their different colors that kind of represent, they're who they are, who we're looking at right now. Hey, by the way, we got Comics King Brandon in the house. Good morning, sir.
Hey, what's going on, sir?
My good friend Jason from Claiming Comics. He said he just woke up, but he loved issue 1. I knew he was trying to make it for this. Appreciate you,
Jason. Good man.
John agrees about the Robins here too. Cool character usage for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, we find out that Batman's going inside because there's apparently like some sorceress in there, and we're like,
magic.
Yeah, some magic. And I'm
so anyone that has magic is kind of looked at as like a threat, right? Overall to the kingdom. So this is Bruce's job, is to essentially, take out any or capture any, threat, magic threat, and throw them in the dungeon. So that's where we get, as you're leading into Banshee, as he refers to, which again, didn't really realize who this character was. And all I kept thinking was, oh, cool, there's a Banshee in X-Men. Look at that. That's where like my head went.
Yeah. I was wondering about the Banshee too. I'm like, who's the Banshee gonna be? I'm like, are they gonna do like a silver Banshee type thing? Yeah. I thought that, and then I see the blonde hair, and I'm like, let me wait for a second. And then she goes, my name is Diana, and Ezra quietly. And then all you just see on the next page is just her doing the canary cry, which is so badass. Like they give her, because she's under the sheet, so you can't really see her quote unquote uniform.
Right.
And they give her like a medieval version of her black canary suit. I was like, right when I saw that, I was like, yes.
Exactly.
And then we get one little spoiler. I love how Tom Taylor does this. He gives you nuggets, and he gives you little bits and pieces, and it's like, okay, let's see if you can put the picture together. So first nugget is right here on this page, and she goes, "How are you still alive?"
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't know." And then what does she do? She screams right in his face. So at this point, I thought, gonna go like break it down a little bit. At this point, I'm like, maybe Batman, because they're going after mystical things. I'm like, what if Batman had mystical armor and he didn't know about it? And he would get into a personality conflict like that.
That's interesting. Yeah. I could see that. By the way, I didn't clarify this earlier, but there are spoilers in case anybody has not read this whole issue yet. We are going to go all the way to the end here. So just want to throw that out there now for anybody who's like, oh, whoa, what the heck?
We're breaking it. We're breaking it down totally.
Yeah. So. Hey, I see Brother Joe in the house. Station Brother Joe. Good to see you, man.
What up?
So that's a great kind of viewpoint of that in terms of, getting an idea of maybe he had some other shielding or something that he doesn't, not aware of. Interesting though, his ears are like bleeding. I think he's like bleeding from the eyes. Like it definitely is like a bit gruesome, when he kind of snaps out of this.
We get that right over here. Yeah, trying to get it so there's less glare. So yeah, you see blood running down his face from under his cowl. Yep. He's got blood from his ears. He's got blood coming out of his nose. Kal-El comes by and he's like, "You don't look like a monster." Mm-hmm. And typical Bruce Wayne fashion, just whacks her.
Yep.
Right in the back with the butt of his sword, knocks her out.
The next scene is like my favorite, and maybe it's partially because I just really enjoy Harley Quinn. So I was so excited to see Harley just on the front cover, knowing, like I love, like this. It's such a great panel. That first like one, she's just coming in because she's totally plays into her character still. She's like this little kid sister almost, compared to the guys. And even in the beginning, this scene right here, I was just cracking up at when she's like, he's bringing in Black Canary on the back of the horse, and she's like, "Are you trying to make a centaur? Because that's not how you do that. You're doing it wrong."
So when I was reading this because she has her OG You know, she has like 90% is the OG Harley Quinn.
Right.
So I'm just reading it. Bruce, do you know you have an unconscious woman back on your horse? If you try to make a centaur, that's not really how it works. She's like, don't torment me today, Quinn. But you're so much fun to torment. I'm like, I'm just reading it as
so
the
good.
OG Harley Quinn voice, and it just works so well.
I think we have to have a Harley Quinn read by Copy 801 segment here all the time. That was great.
Well, the voice actress, Warlord, Glitter Lord. Check out my video yesterday. You're gonna laugh. But anyway, so what she did was, when the voice actress did Harley Quinn, she used the squeaky Brooklyn accent for her, and everybody just did the same thing. Oh yeah, she just goes that. She goes, it's so easy. You're so dark and brooding. And I'm like, all you needed to do was just give the New York accent in there. But I was kind of pissed off that he didn't do that. But if you know the history, you'll read it like that.
Right.
It's so funny.
Yeah, she's like fiddling with his ear. He's like annoyed by that, and they're like, all right, time to go. So she's basically saying at the end too, she says like, oh, you guys are already in big trouble anyway. So yeah, you really picture like these kids that are coming back now after this big event that just happened. And you see the king and queen along with you can kind of see that there.
Yeah, you get Jor-El and Alora.
Yeah.
And they're all giving him a talking to. And
really they're giving Cal more of a talking to, right? They're like, who said you can go with Bruce and all this stuff? And he admits like, no, I went on my own accord. Yeah, yada yada yada. And even Bruce is like, you shouldn't have been there. This is not safe for you. You need to be protected, blah, blah, blah. Kind of what he said when he first wanted to go with him.
Exactly.
And then the dad, Jor, he's he's certainly not happy with it. And then he calls Bruce's side, or wants to talk to Bruce. Oh, actually, did I skip a part? I think I just jumped a little bit.
So the only important thing that you skipped over was that Alora says that your parents, she goes, Bruce, for the last time, your parents were our monarchs and our friends. This is as much your home as ours. You don't need to kneel to it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wouldn't that be interesting if the Waynes were their monarch? And they have a little spat, and then Jor-El just goes, Bruce, let's take a walk.
Yep. Yeah.
And
so
they have a really good heart-to-heart, and Bruce is like, when he's like, oh, but you sworn to protect me from magic. But the Green Man, when he attacked, he's like, I could do things, and I think there's dark magic in me. And he's like, I think I'm cursed. But and then of course, we get two Green Men.
Mm-hmm.
We get
a little
Green Lantern, and we get Mr. Quinn,
hanging out in the Hob Forest.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, so yeah, you see them getting ready with the Green Arrow there, getting powered by the ring essentially, and then it's shot in the air, and that's how that one page kind of it really just displays there, which I really like that they're kind of showing these things at the same time here as we're building up towards the end here. You really just get that one page, which is cool. So the arrow's being shot. Meanwhile, we flash back to Jor-El having this conversation with Bruce, and he breaks the news, big news. And I'm curious what you think of this overall, of the fact that Jor-El and Martha, Bruce's mom, who's no longer with us, they did a thing, and he's now explaining to Bruce that he is his dad.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about this as a whole? Like, what do you think of this as a twist? Obviously, this is different from the real DC universe, but we're not in the normal DC universe right now. This is very much different.
Excellent plot twist. I loved it. I'm like, you know what? Because Superman, Jor-El, and Alora represented incorruptibility, and then to find out that, that Jor-El and Martha had an affair, That was awesome. That was awesome. And it explained so much. What's going on, sir? It explained so much about Bruce and so much about how how he's treated by both the king and queen. And it was just like he's like your mother and I. You were a mistake. You are not a mistake. It's like him being born wasn't meant to happen, but him as he is as a person is not a mistake. Just that line was like, that's awesome. He goes, "You are my son. That's why I strongly believe you should sit on the throne. 2 kings have loved you." And I was like, brilliant, absolutely awesome. Awesome. And then to end the issue, the arrow, which has been blessed by Green Lantern to be kryptonite, goes through his eye. Very graphic. Goes right through his eye.
Yep.
And then the very last thing you see at the bottom is just Bruce over who he realizes now is his father's body, and his eyes glow.
Red. Yep.
I read that right when I saw that. I was like, "Hey, yo, this is great." I'm like, I gotta wait a month for the next freaking issue now. This is bullshit.
So this is where, like I'm on board with you. Like this, I thought was really exciting as a twist, and something I certainly didn't think that this could go this way. But I think this is also where, like John here said, he said this is where it really derailed for me. I know that for him, this wasn't something he was into, and I see Comic Journey also agreeing with John, just saying that he's not really into the story either. However, we also have like Jason here. He said, "See, I love the twist personally, and I'm not a DC head, so maybe that's something to do with it." So the Jason copy here is a DC head. So that's where I'm like, I don't know what, I think it's just, different for everybody ultimately. But, I'm happy to hear a copy that you enjoyed it as much as you did, knowing how much of a DC fan, diehard fan you are, that you enjoyed this, which is cool. And again, I totally understand and respect if it's not for everybody, as like John had mentioned and explained in his live stream. But I do think when you get into this type of read, you have to throw everything out the door that you normally know about certain characters, and just read it as like an indie almost. I mean, if you're going to argue that you don't like that Bruce is actually related to Superman, you could also complain that they are in the medieval time, which is also not accurate, to the DC universe. So I think, there's obviously so many things that are different, and there's supposed to be a complete twist, for the purpose of being built in this whole other realm. Really, they could do whatever they want, such as the pod being bigger and having the whole family land on Earth. I think it's just a complete twist too. So I really enjoyed that, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it too. Dude, definitely
fantastic.
Yeah, and we're getting 12 issues of this, so I'm excited. I look forward to this, and I really think that this might be one of those series that I mean, again, assuming I enjoy it the entire time, I will buy this in a hardcover if it comes out. I think that that's kind of been my new thing. I was talking with Jason about that not too long ago, and if I really like a mini series, like I'm digging the mini series in general. I know a lot of them come out nowadays, and if they come out with a hardcover, then I'm totally down. He said, copy is the epitome of DC. Yeah, man. He basically runs DC, basically. Herminio in the house station.
Hey, what up, Herm?
We also got Bill hanging out with us. Bill Donovan. Good to see you, Bill. Thanks for stopping by as well. A couple other people before. I know we're just at the 10 o'clock mark here, copy. Trying to stay within that. Appreciate everybody hanging out. He says different taste, but still wish John enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm with you, Jason. I hope that issue 2 can maybe reel him in, as I know he'll be getting it for his daughter. So, and Comic Journey says it's just not my thing. I can appreciate an Elseworld button, but it's really not for me. Yeah, no, I totally respect it, man. Totally respect it.
Oh yeah.
And Jason, definitely on the hardcover if it's that good. I am with you for sure. So as we kind of wrap up here, I know this is just kind of a quick review. We want to just kind of break it down and hang out along the way. So appreciate everyone hanging out here. Copy, any final thoughts that you want to say about the book, or anything before we close out here?
I mean, what I could say is that, like he said before, this is an Elseworlds without the Elseworlds imprint.
Hmm.
But I mean, as a DC guy, yeah, I'm familiar with everybody's story and stuff, but you just have to look at it as what it is.
Mhm.
Like it takes elements and stuff, but I mean, Batman being so dark and brooding, Bruce isn't terribly dark and brooding in this. You know, he's had a much better life in this story than he has in regular continuity.
Mhm.
So I just look at it like you do, as like not an indie, but I look at it as something self-contained.
Yeah.
Give me something new, give me something fresh.
Right.
And so far, I'll give this. This thing is damn fresh. Just came right off the rack. So I'm looking forward to it. I really think this is going to be a sleeper because I mean, yeah, people bought it, but not a lot of people bought it.
Right.
And I'm thinking that once, like Deceased, when Tom Taylor did that, everybody and their mother, zombies, DC Marvel zombies are coming out. This is literally DC's version of Marvel's 1502. So I think that as this goes on, you're going to get more variants, you're going to get more store exclusives, and then when people try and find the first couple of issues, they're going to be out of luck.
Yeah.
So don't sleep on this. You might not have liked it. For those people that didn't like the first issue, give the second or third a chance. Give it a chance.
Agreed. I think this is definitely worth giving a chance. Gore saying, will Harley appear as the court jester or seductress, both or both?
Well, so far she's court jester.
Yeah, she's definitely just like I picture her as a little sister, kind of just like running around. Hey, we got Flash by Night in the house.
Hey.
Good morning. Good morning. JLS wants to know if you are sponsored by Chewy.com above your head there, sir.
No, but there's a couple people who are actually trying to do that, and if they get it to work, I'm gonna laugh so much.
Hey, I missed this. Uncle Frank's in the house. What's going on, Uncle Frank? He says, I can argue that DC does quote unquote what if stories better than Marvel. Interesting. And John here had put, I think it's just don't want to doesn't want a super powered Batman. It doesn't fit with Batman, and as I like to see him, I get that it's Otherworld and Cal and Bruce as brothers, and Bruce is Kryptonian, but is too much.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I mean, I totally get your angle at it. I think it's just something that you have. It's almost like you have to just know that it's just not Batman. It's just picture it being another character, which in that case you might be saying like, well, why not just write a whole new book then at that point? But I do think, they're trying to have fun with it. They're trying to, take the names, at least really just the names and somewhat of the looks of these characters. And like you pointed out with the Robins, I really like how they did that to kind of represent those characters. And yet then we have Harley, who's just dressed as the original Harley. So that's cool.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. There's like no creativity there. It's like, all right, Harley can just stay as she is. But yeah, valid points all around from everybody here in the chat. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We are timed here, so we're gonna have to jump. But Copy again, dude. Thank you so much. We got to do this again sometime. Break down another DC book. Maybe we'll break down issue 2 when it comes out. That might be a thing. We could do something like that. So. And again, anybody who doesn't follow Copy, I put his information in the description below. Make sure you are following him over on YouTube and on Instagram. If you're ever looking to talk some DC with him, reach out, or any comic book related stuff, reach out to him. Hey, what's going on, Escargo? And lastly, just want to remind everybody, I still have my 1,000 subscriber giveaway contest going on. It ends today at 10 o'clock Eastern. So if you haven't already, I put the link in the description, or just go to my YouTube channel. You'll see the one with the 1,000 number on the thumbnail. Just go get entered. We're gonna have a whole party tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock Eastern. It's probably gonna run for 2 or 3 hours. People are welcome to come aboard and just talk and hang out and have a good time. So definitely keep that on your radar as well. Like I said, today at 10 o'clock is the last time to get entered into that contest. So hopefully y'all can make it, or at least hang out. John says Justin has to go to the couch for some football. Exactly. Got to get ready for some football. You guys know the deal here. Appreciate everybody hanging out. And again, Copy, appreciate you, brother. We'll wrap up here and we'll talk to you.